sometimes Deluxification is not as easy or as nice as you think it is. Pensive, pithy intro timestamp. Stupid thought. Okay. Let's see. I'm Devin, your friendly neighborhood board gamer. This is Devin Talks Tabletop, the YouTube channel where what I say doesn't matter. The games are made up. All of that in reverse order. And this is Dune Imperium. This is Dune Imperium, the deluxe upgrade box. And the reason why I started off with that intro is because there are some times when you really want to deluxify something and then it just kind of falls flat a little bit. And I'm not trying to say that that's the case with this game. It's a little bit the case. The reason why I have a deluxe box here and I have these sleeves on the outside is because when they sent the game, they didn't actually send enough sleeves for the game. And I have the expansion in here, which might beg the question, oh, Devin, well, it had enough sleeves for the base game, but not the expansion that you got. Nope, it didn't even have enough space for the expansion when I had the base game by itself. And so this is the Rise of Ix expansion here, which most recently they just shared the Immortality. They just revealed there's a new expansion coming out for Dune Imperium, which I am excited about. I am definitely excited about that. However, I think, is this just supposed to be further inset? Is that just supposed to be not really there, and then that's kind of there? Just it feels like that makes more sense for those two to have gone down there. But whatever. Okay. And yeah, they didn't have enough sleeves. And I ordered sleeves with this originally. I ordered the sleeves, but they didn't even have enough for the base game. And that's because they have the House of Hagal, this AI deck for when you have 2 or 3 players, or no, 1 or 2 players. And so now I'm going to have to take out this whole thing here, and I'm going to have to push this forward a little bit, which is okay. And now, I guess I'll just be over here, where I'm going to have to now separate out the whole deck, because I played sleeved and unsleeved with Alex and Professor Meg, which Alex was horrified that I played a game sleeved and unsleeved. But it was like, what do you want me to do? I didn't have enough sleeves for these cards, and I wanted to play the game because they had played, well, I think Meg had played with the expansion before. Alex, I don't think, had played with it before, but he had read the rules for it, which is, different. But yeah, it's like, I was just so kind of annoyed that, when you spend money to upgrade something, you kind of expect them to have their stuff figured out. And I'm not really mad at Direwolf, because this is one of my favorite games of the last 2 years. And I am so happy that they have continued to support it with, Rise of Ix expansion and also the upcoming Immortality expansion. But it really does kind of bum me out a little bit that they were like, hey, buy our upgrade box, which I did. And they're like, also, weird thing to let you know, we don't have enough sleeves for the cards that you have, even though you just paid for the sleeves. And it's like, what? How'd you not math that out right? You had to have had the opportunity to math that out. And so, but that's not even that's not even the full complaint or focus on in this game. It's really the idea that sometimes you think you want to deluxify something, and then it can actually get in the way of the game. And I say that because in this game, in Dune Imperium, you have several things that are going on. You have the agents, kind of like, your workers and your worker placement. The agents are what that is. And your agents go out on the board. And those are replaced in this upgraded version with some of these miniatures. And then you also have alliances that you can achieve with different factions, like the Spacing Guild, the Fremen, the Bene Gesserit, the Emperor or the Empire. You can definitely create these different, what do you call it? You get these alliances that give you points in the game. Well, in the base game, it's wooden tokens for the agents, and it's cardboard tokens for the alliances. So that's kind of how it works in the base game. In this game, it's miniatures for the agents, and it's miniatures for the alliances that you can get. So at one point, Alex or Meg had like 3 alliances. I think it was Alex. And he had 3 miniatures just sitting in his area on top of the miniatures that they also replace your military for. So the miniatures that are your agents and that are the alliances, they're a certain size. And then there's smaller plastic miniatures that replace your units, which, just like the agents in the base game, were wooden pieces, except instead of like specifically designed, they were just wooden cubes. And so in the base game, like in the original just retail version of the game, it's pretty straightforward, and like none of the components get in the way of the gameplay, but it is they kind of get in the way a little bit of this play. Like when you're playing with the expansion and with the upgrade pack, there's just a lot of miniatures on the board. There's a lot of miniatures that you have to account for. So now I also have to get these starter cards out that I didn't use at the time. I still have those sleeves there, which is good. Where are these guys? There was a set, there should be a set of a certain amount of them. Oh, Alex took out those ones because he wanted to sleeve the cards he had. Oh, Alex, you are an absolute mess. And so it just kind of got in the way a little bit, in a way that I wasn't really expecting to not maybe, I didn't dislike it, but I didn't feel rewarded like you sometimes do with upgrade components. I think that sometimes just I think you can get enamored with the possibility of an experience that you enrich with components. And I really do think that there are times when it 100% makes it better. Like it just makes it better, and there's no question about it. Let's see. Put all the I might as well just organize this while I'm doing this. And yeah, I don't know. I'm curious what you guys think. Like, what do you think about in terms of fancy stuff? Like, what games are you hands down? You're like 100%. This was worth it, and I absolutely wouldn't want to play without these upgrades. Like, what games do that for you? For me, it's, I don't know. I think the games that I'm the most convinced by are actually just the games where the upgrade comes down to what your organization is. Like, I love inserts that make games go faster. I think inserts that make games go faster are so compelling as options. But, oh, no, those are the signet rings. So there should be 4 of these. 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 There should be 4 of these new ones. And then there should be 8 of each of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. So yeah, I don't know. I was a little bit frustrated. I was a little bit frustrated with what this offered up versus what I was expecting it to. So now I can use these extra sleeves I had. There were some there, but they weren't actually enough to fit all of the cards at the time. So I was like, I'm not going to sleeve these because they don't work. So I think I'm going to put them in this way. Am I okay with that? Yeah. So I'm going to put them in this way. And that will just be the way that I put in all of the House Hagal cards. But to me, this was just like a strange oversight. It was like, how did you not count the amount of cards that were in the game when you were making the amount of sleeves for the game? And even if they were, maybe there was an internal decision where they were like, oh, well, these particular cards here don't need to be sleeved. And it was like, like why don't you let the consumer decide that whenever they get the cards? But yeah, for me, it's this interesting thing of, I didn't dislike the miniatures. I thought they were cool, and they added some like presence on the board, but I don't know if they were worth the amount of actual, I don't know if they were worth the space that they took up, because at a certain point, it would have just been easier to just have the wooden cubes on the table. And I love what the expansion brings, but this isn't really a conversation about expansions, because that's a completely different conversation. Expansions and deluxifications are not the same thing, usually. But I was somewhat surprised at how tame I felt when getting to table this, because it was the first time I've played it since I got the upgrade deck, or the upgrade, pack for it. And so I was kind of ready to be wowed by the table experience. And I very much enjoyed the gameplay, because it was my first time playing with the expansion as well. So the experience was still good, but I attributed that to the people I was playing with. And then also the expansion. It really had nothing to do almost with the deluxified part of the game. So can I slot these in here? Okay, so I've got some extra sleeves there, and then I've got this extra pack here, which I'm going to keep. And my hope is this. My hope is that extra pack will actually work. Now, I do have, where are they? Where's the upgraded components? I'm going to get them real quick. Because part of this discussion is not just Dune Imperium. Part of this discussion is just upgrades in general. And these are upgrades from Top Shelf Gamer. And let me open this up. I think that there are ways that you can upgrade stuff that does create a nice visual element. For example, these are replacement water cubes and spice cubes. And I think that they do give presence. I'm still somewhat unconvinced as to how much I'll enjoy them, because there is a certain amount of if things just start to take up space, versus what they offer. Now, that's the spice, and then this is the water. And so, the water is a little weird for me. I like the spice more because it, looks like spice. The water looks a little bit like blue Hershey's Kisses, which thematically are a little strange to me. I don't know how you would do water in a way that doesn't seem weird, making a liquid thing be a physical solid form. But these are really nice upgrades that you can get, and they're from Top Shelf Gamer is where these are from. And so I'm very curious to see the difference in how I feel about these physical component upgrades. But yeah, it may get to the point where there are certain aspects of Deluxification that I want in this game, and then other parts of it that I don't want. And I'm curious to see where I'll land on that. Because, I mean, these are so much chunkier than the other spice things. And in some ways, they might be harder to, like actually count. And I'm uncertain, like, what my reaction will be to that. I don't actually know if there's a convenient space for these to stow. And that's probably another aspect of Deluxification that I'm sometimes unconvinced on, and is how does it affect the convenience of your game? Like, does it actually fit? For example, these components in Dune don't matter because they're off the board. They're stuff that players hold on to and keep for the sake of their own resource amounts. But if we are going to take a step back from looking at Dune Imperium, and we are going to talk about Deluxification just with other games, then it comes down to a different point that I haven't brought up yet, which is this. These are the components for brass. This is the beer. This is brass Birmingham. This is beer, this is coal, and this is iron. All three of these components actually are supposed to go on the board. And the reason why that can be a problem is the beer not so much, because it's got certain slots, but the coal and the iron actually have a market. And those market, like the graphic design of the market, is small squares to fit the orange and the black cubes of iron and coal. But when you get these bigger pieces, they don't actually fit as comfortably in the space laid out for the graphic design of the game. So I love the chunkiness and the weightiness and the like real world feel that these components give, but sometimes it's a question of, does it actually make things more difficult other than just adding something pretty? Now, Euphoria is another one that I'm really excited to check these out, because you've got the energy and you've got a lot of the resources, and I really enjoy Euphoria. I think probably my most instinctual upgrade for a game is actually not components. It's almost always inserts, organization, things that help me get a game to the table faster. That's kind of what I'm looking for whenever I first start to upgrade something. But I'm curious what you guys think. I really love Dune Imperium. I'm excited for the new expansion to come out. I'm happy that I finally have enough sleeves for the cards in the game, and hopefully the remaining 75 something sleeves I have are enough for the new expansion to where I don't have to make an additional order of sleeves when that comes out. Anyways, I hope you guys had a good one. Let me know your favorite Deluxifications for games. Let me know your thoughts on Deluxifications gone wrong. And that's it. I'll see you guys next time.